All right, let's talk about the future of data analysis. Because as AI gets smarter and smarter, there is one massive question hanging in the air.
Let's just get right to it, shall we? Is AI really going to make the human data analyst a thing of the past? It's a huge question, and the answer really gets to the heart of what we think an analyst actually does. So, to get to the bottom of this, we first have to bust a pretty big myth, what I like to call the AI takeover myth. And it all kicks off with how most people see the job in the first place.
You know, the common view is that an analyst is basically a number cruncher, a technical whiz who just wrangles giant data sets. But here's the counterintuitive truth. A great analyst isn't just a technical expert. They're a context expert. Their real magic is understanding everything that's missing from the data.
And look, if you only think about that common view, the technical side of things, then yeah, it totally makes sense that AI would be coming for that job. I mean, it's built to chew through data way faster than any human possibly could. But that's really only half the picture.
And this is where things get really interesting. An analyst's true value, their secret sauce, is found in all the stuff you can't see, in the knowledge that lives completely outside of any spreadsheet or database. I mean, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? A great analyst isn't great because of the data they have access to. They're great because of what they know about the data itself.
So what is this unwritten knowledge? Well, it's all the messy human stuff. It's knowing how the data was actually collected in the real world. It's understanding that a tiny change in some business process 3 months ago is now messing with the numbers. It's knowing about the common glitches, the hidden gaps, and all the weird exceptions to the rules that nobody ever wrote down. That's not just information, that's wisdom.
And this brings us to another superpower that is so uniquely human, the art of asking the right question. This is all about being a translator, turning a huge vague request into something that's actually useful.
Okay, picture this. And if you're an analyst, you've lived this 1,000 times. A senior exec walks up and asks a massive question, something like, "So, how's our marketing doing?" They just assume all the data is perfect and ready to go, but the reality? It's so much more complicated than that.
See, a great analyst doesn't just run a query. They act like a detective. First, they try to figure out the real question behind the question. Then they ask a ton of follow-ups to narrow things down. They're upfront about what the data can and, just as importantly, can't do. And only after all of that do they deliver something that's actually meaningful. It's a conversation, not just a command.
And that entire human process, that back and forth, that conversation, that is exactly where we find AI's critical blind spot. Because for all of its incredible power, there are just some things it can't do. Experience and intuition still matter, big time.
So what is that limitation? It's actually pretty simple. An AI is completely, 100% dependent on the data it has already been given. It can't know what it hasn't been shown. If it's not in the database for the AI, it just doesn't exist.
To put it another way, an AI simply can't replicate that gut feeling, that intuition that a person builds over years of experience. All that super valuable unwritten knowledge we talked about earlier, it's not in a digital format. There's nothing for an AI to learn from.
For an AI to even begin to compete here, it would literally have to live a human life. It would need to sit in on the meetings, ask all those clarifying questions, make embarrassing mistakes, and learn from them over years. It would have to become a human apprentice, basically. So, all of this is leading us somewhere really important. It means we need to totally redefine what it means to be a great data analyst. It's about way more than just being good with computers. It really boils down to 3 key pillars. You've got your technical skills, of course. That's the price of admission. You have to have that. But what really separates the good from the truly great is deep knowledge of the business and its systems, and, maybe most importantly, fantastic human-centric communication skills. They're a bridge between the data and the people. So let's stop thinking about analysts as just people who are good with data. A truly great analyst is a curious researcher, an expert translator, and a genuine strategic partner who understands the business inside and out. And that brings us to the final, most important point. This whole conversation shouldn't be AI versus human. That's the wrong way to look at it. The real question, the one we should all be asking, is how are the best, most experienced humans going to use these amazing new AI tools to become even better, even faster, and even more valuable than they ever were before?